It's Spoilerin time. This week on Spoilerin time, we are going back into the vault. We're watching an episode of Miami Vice, this one from season 2, episode 20, called Payback, starring Frank Zappa as a guest host. I guess he's not a host, he's just an actor. Also, we are talking about episode 5 of season 2 of Raised by Wolves and the season finale of season 2 of The Righteous Gemstones. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Hey, man. Look, I got to contribute what I can when I can, which is to most of the episode of Righteous Gemstones, because I got 15 more minutes waiting for me at home. Let me say right off the top, love the fact that it's like, hey, guess what? We're giving out this episode. Answers right from the beginning. We go back, like, I was surprised at that moment that I was like, oh my God, yeah, what's his name was the reporter at the beginning at the beginning of all this. Why can I not access his name?
Not Adrian Brody.
No. Well, now you made it worse. Now
Jason Schwartzman.
There you go. Schwartzman. Thank you.
Thank you. My God. I had all the Gyllenhaals running through my brain for some odd reason.
He looked like one of them, doesn't he?
I adore the parallels between like the dueling forgive the language, the dueling dipshits that we have on both sides, where it's like everybody is a class A piece of turd and nobody knows what they're doing, and he sits there and watches as all the gemstones wallow around in the blood of Jason Schwartzman. And then I loved all of that, and I loved the simplicity of a new narrative. And I got as far as the twist of Jesse now has, really every character has everything they want, but Jesse is complicated by the fact that he now knows who sent the Cycle Ninjas, but also still wants things. And that's where I ran out of time because I spent all day promoting World's Greatest Con, Season 2, Episode 1. Drops right now. Check your podcatcher of your choice.
Yeah, so I could have been disappointed a little bit that I guessed it was the listens, but I was delighted by how it was the listens. And a lot of that you covered just now, the sort of ineptness of it being the listens, not just on the side of who killed Schwartzman's character being total accidents, but also on the side of the biker gang basically being in charge of Listen, not something where he was
as
the
a parallel to his own
ordering it
muscle
around.
men, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I guess I hadn't really thought about those parallels because
I hadn't either till you just said that.
We spent a lot of time this season wondering if the Listens were the secretly competent, real, God Mafia. But then no, they're revealed to be an exact bizarro mirror image of the Gemstone family, right down to the muscle men. Okay, tell me what I missed.
So you saw the beach?
Yes.
Did you get to the beach?
Yes.
And did you see Listen order them into the sea?
No.
That was such a great. Get into this water.
The last thing I saw was Baby Billy's girl go to the bathroom and realize she's gonna have the baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, that was so. It was.
I know. Look, I'm buckled in. I'm ready for all of this.
Did you see the circle of life moment at the end where he raises up the baby with all the blue stuff on it?
Oh, but that sounds great.
It's very good.
There's a full-on toilet baby, which honestly, you lost me a little bit with the toilet baby. You brought it back with the circle of life moment, though. That was good. Jesse creates a slingshot and brings down the giant that is Listen, and you think maybe he killed him.
Because he falls down and stays down.
So he goes and gets this entire family and brings them back. They think he's killed them, and then Listen gets up, and then his wife shows up with a gun and orders all of the gemstones to walk into the sea.
Get into the sea. You forgot to mention, Tom, that when they leave the Listen body, Jesse tried to hide it and so covered it with like towels and a rake and a bunch of trash.
Like a palm frond.
Palm frond. And Listen just gets up like it's nothing. It's so good.
To anybody who's listening to this out of context, Just wrap your mind around how wonderful this sensation is, because I am certain I have only 14 minutes left in the episode.
You missed it,
and you guys are describing a complete other hour-long episode that apparently happens.
Well, and the best part is we haven't even told you, like, what, Bryce, like the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, there's a time skip. There's a time jump.
3 months.
Yeah, they jump 1 month.
Is it 1 month? I thought it was 3 months.
AV Club says it's 1 month.
Yeah. But they do a time skip, and you see Jesse leading a service and enjoying his life. You get a scene of Kelvin, who's now replaced his muscle men with children who are working out. And he and Keith talking about how, you know what, it's always better to be around children, and they should take the children into the desert, and they don't need chaperones, just them and the children.
We're gonna make the children the muscle men. It was very. That was a very low blow of a scene. I felt like the way that they kept making it very suggestive.
That point.
In front of all of these kids who are working out in front of the two of them. So very weird.
And you see them all piling into the restaurant. I can't remember the name of the restaurant now.
Oh,
Justin's or something,
where they do the dinner every week.
Yeah.
And so they have a lovely dinner where everybody talks about how happy they are and how content they are and everything is good. And then, is it the last scene in Alaska? Is that the very last scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Eric Andre, the guy, he escapes, right? The wife gets shot. Is that right? Actually, Tom, you should say this, man, because I don't remember. I did watch it. I took notes.
They have to go on the run because it's revealed what they have done, and so they go on the run to Alaska to get away from the gemstones. The gemstones have now taken over the
Zion's
condo.
Landing.
By the way,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Zion's Landing is now just a gemstone thing, and so you see the Listens hanging out in Alaska, hiding out in a cabin. Thinking they've gotten free, and the ninja bikes come riding up.
So
and there's a last stand.
Is that them coming for the Listens, or is that their army coming home to roost?
So the next scene,
Eli has taken charge of the ninja bike gang.
Oh, geez, Louise! This show.
I thought, Tom, that the bikers were after them because the Listens didn't pay.
Oh, that's interesting. See, I got it's definitely by inference, but I got the inference from a scene of Eli saying, like, yes, he gets a thing in his ear during when
they're singing.
Yeah, they're like, we found them. And so I assumed that he had taken charge of the ninjas.
Oh,
but you're right. Maybe he's just in communication with them.
It could be both, right? It could be like, hey, I know where they're going to be. I'll bankroll you getting revenge. Because that was the big thing with the bikers in that scene, was like they really wanted to get paid for this thing that they totally screwed up 4 times.
And I probably shouldn't chime in, given that I have 14 more minutes to watch, but we do seem to have, by this episode, a transformed and fully realized Eli Gemstone, who is much more comfortable with his checkered past than we've seen before.
Yeah, in fact, you get a brief scene of Junior, who has set up a memorial boxing place in the name of his dad, and Eli's there for the opening, and he nods and smiles, is like, well, I had to put a picture of the old guy there, and they're like, yeah, that's all behind us now. Like, it's like closure after closure in the last 15 minutes.
And even when the motorcycle gang shows up, this is okay. I remember it. They gun down the wife, and then Eric Andre runs away. And I think it's a post-credit scene where you're like, oh, he ran away, so he'll probably be back, right? And then it's a shining moment of like him frozen, and like 6 wolves are closing in on him. But it was good because I was very much like, oh, they're not going to try to like do another thing with these people that they've burnt, right? But they don't. It's very good.
I am now. I was sitting there watching this thinking, like, my God, this is like a Korean drama where you spend half the last episode just telling us what happened to all the characters and how they lived happily ever after, except for the 2 Listens, obviously. But I think what they did was say, that's the end of this story. We are giving ourselves a clean slate, same characters, same dynamics, but nothing's carrying over from this season to next season of the significant, obviously character traits and things they're there, but they have closed all the loops on this season.
I am totally surprised because I think last week I predicted that the real finale was last week and that this would all be place setting for the next, but instead it's like
it's almost the
nope.
opposite. They gave us like 20 finales in this one.
And I read an article from an interview with Danny McBride, and he was talking about this of like wrapping up these stories at the end of the season. And he was basically saying like, we do a bunch of cliffhangers in the show that we don't want to leave a big gap between story beats and stuff. So that I think we will probably continue to see for however long they continue to do Gemstones, single season arcs like this, which I'm down for.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on Raised by Gemstones? Anything else on Righteous Gemstones?
No, let's talk about Brian's ire raises.
All right, that's the Righteous Gemstone season 2, episode 9. Let's talk about Raised by Wolves season 2, episode 5, The King. It's good to be actually not the king, just king. This is what happens when mother takes over and mother and father have a fight and other things with Sue.
Yeah, man. You know what's great about this show is how you can always believe anyone and ever. I love the fact that the characters are so consistent, that the world is so reliable. I thought it was an interesting storyline that we got with Sue tracking down the solution to save Paul. Right.
And it comes from a clue where she's like, oh, what are these slugs? And then she figures it out. So it's a combination of knowledge coming from the database without the need of the AI. She's able to figure it out herself. And then Campion and her going down and catching.
Yeah, I was about to say, define, figure it out for yourself. Because like if I was in the middle of the SAT and I was like, dear Lord, please let me know the answers to the SAT. And then suddenly I had a hallucination of like, the answer is A, D, B, C, A.
Yeah, but she didn't know how to interpret that. She's like, oh, I just dreamed about all these slugs. What are they? And the database said, oh, they're this. And they have medicinal properties. And she's like, hold on. So I meant from the moment she thought of the slugs, she figured it out herself using information, and she didn't need the trust to solve it for her. So I think that's significant. You're right. She never would have thought slugs if she hadn't
been sent the email with the attachment slugs.
And they had were a virus on her computer making slug pop-ups.
I'm going to say this, even though I know it's not true. You could make the argument that perhaps she had seen the slugs before in her work and was dreaming about them because the infection reminded her about them, and it was her subconscious processing that.
Well, but then the end of the episode, Tom, where God says, protect the seeds, directly to her. They spend 2 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Grow the seeds.
I knew it wasn't true.
I don't know what they're doing with her, because every time they give a human being superpowers, there's always a magic-y reason, right? The eyeballs or poison.
I think there's a transmitter somewhere on this planet. I think that's going to be revealed at some point, that this is not God speaking, it's the aliens, but it's the aliens, and the aliens are God, and God are the aliens.
So
and until we meet that, then...
Separate from that, I'm just trying to figure out when HBO snuck the license rights to Bride of Chucky and was able to sneak it into this episode, just with robot daughter girl. Yeah, mommy.
She's away. What? They made a whole point to show her corpse.
Okay, so
that's very
weird. This was the sequence where we see Marcus get in on a highly technological ruins, get in a mechanical trap.
That's right.
And go down and
visit a man covered in trash bags.
And then you revived an alien guy who tried to kill him.
Who turned into
an animal.
Turned into the monster. That's right.
I thought he turned into the Night King.
Briefly. First he was covered in
the
trash,
snake skin.
In trash cans, trash bags.
But it was the snake skin that Marcus was also wearing.
Sure. But then he turned into the Night King, but then was like, no, now I'm a sinister animal. And Marcus is like, well, even I know to put a bullet in this plot hole.
But then he threw away his relic, too. He also threw away the medal that was glowing and woke the guy up.
That was a tooth,
that's what
wasn't it?
woke the guy up.
Oh, is it a tooth?
And what's her face upstairs? Holly just starts pulling up the chain.
Yeah.
For some reason.
And Marcus is able to jump in there at the last second. And then he thanks Holly for saving her, even though she wasn't. And Chucky's bride was killing everybody else.
Yeah.
I wrote down a quote.
Okay. You took notes.
I took a lot of notes, y'all. The proof. This is
my
proof.
God.
I watched this show.
In fact,
It's a lot.
Maybe
It's
we all
multiple pages.
Okay, go on.
Quote. What's the difference between a god and an alien? Who? Can we please get some subtext budget, please?
No.
I mean,
they actually say that in this episode. They're like,
direct.
hey,
No, that's why-
God,
that's why I wrote it
anyway,
down.
I know you're just an alien signal, but let me pray to you anyway.
No, but then a kid directly says that line. What's the difference between a god and an alien? And it's like, I would have gotten to that point. I would have gotten to that conclusion of thinking.
Listen, y'all. I think you're misunderstanding the fact that the budget for the next few episodes is going to have to be spent on effects. So we just needed to kill as many of the regular cast as possible. It didn't matter how.
Didn't they kill one of the kids? Very unceremonious. Didn't the robot girl kill the dark skinned kid? The dark skinned guy? I thought that's who she killed, but maybe I didn't notice. But I thought that was who she killed, and it seemed very weird that he didn't get a lot of like, oh no, we're sad about this.
Definitely killed most of the congregation. I don't remember exactly which people, but she was just a killing machine. And that's going to make you feel better.
What do we all think about the fact that Father is just doing his own show? Father's doing the Father time.
I kind of like Father's show.
Father's trying to get up in them skirts, featuring Father. Yo, baby, can I take a peek up in them skirts? Distraction.
Very weird.
And we activated the alien body last week. And then what happened this week with it?
It ran away,
stood up.
and then it came back, and then it showed an image of a fetus.
On the shawl. It was wearing a shawl.
It's also a display.
Right.
So, as a
and it's definitely wearing like a belly dancer outfit, just kind of to show off the thickness, I guess. It seems like a mystery of the planet. Maybe we want to look into some of the mystery.
Hey guys, nobody wants to say it. I'll say it. This show's dumb. This show's dumb now.
Kind of dumb.
This show used to be good. Now it's dumb.
Because that's an absolutist statement.
Well, I absolutely think this show is dumb. I used to think it was good.
Yeah, I was with you right up until that point, but yeah, this was not a good episode.
I hope it turns me around. You know, what episode are we on? 4 or 5? Like this was the low point last season, I think. It's the mid of the season.
Okay. All right. Maybe the roller coaster will start going back up.
The scripts are bad though. The scripts are just bad. Okay.
Yeah. And there's still, like, I really was interested in the concept of how to heal Paul and the slugs and getting the, like, it started to hint at the interesting things that happen here, but so
no, you just go back and he's cured. He's just fine. They figured it.
It was a little fast. Yeah.
Very fast. Okay.
It was about to liquefy his innards, but he's fine.
Oh, good. Thankfully, I didn't see any of that.
Thank you, 17th century science. And your
leeches.
But not the common leeches. It's only the leeches. We did see what's her name fight one of the ocean monsters, but she scared it away instead of it attacking everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. So those are the wolves that we were raised by. Season 2, episode 5. Let's talk about Frank Zappa. Miami Vice, season 2, episode 20, Payback. I looked it up. Weasel dust is in fact a slang term for cocaine. that was used by actual people outside of this episode.
It does
of
sound
Miami
like
Vice.
something that somebody wrote in a writer's room and immediately ran out and trademarked.
Wow, how many Frank Zappa songs reference weasels? A lot of them. So I was like, is he just ad-libbing and they left it in? But apparently not. Or if he was, it was a real thing. There was a bit that was a little like Severance, I thought, where they were in the offices.
Go on.
Oh, when they were in the waiting room, when Crockett was
when
waiting.
they sent him to Internal Affairs, and he was waiting.
That was a little bit weird. I'm just glad that finally we have a plot that involves whether or not Crockett is crooked with Internal Affairs. Like,
And
that was a long time coming.
Yeah. Also,
With
honestly,
I believe the same guy from the last time.
we keep after you, Crockett. One of these days we'll prove you're crooked.
One of these days we're gonna make you crooked. I'll tell you what.
They literally set him up. He was literally set up. I did write one note. I only wrote one note about Miami Vice, but I did write from something at the very beginning of the episode. Do you remember the beginning of the episode? Very interesting sequence. They're going to prison, and Crockett's going.
Long little video to get to that meeting.
When the very first thing, I believe the very first thing they say is, "You better not be wasting my time," which is what they say 3 minutes into the beginning of the episode of Miami Vice.
They're really making sure people had a chance to get back from the bathroom.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
He's got to walk through the yard. He's got to walk through the yard. If we don't show him walking through the yard, how will they know how he got through the yard?
Also, I believe that was, I believe the prisoner that they visited was the one from the previous episode, The Fix.
Okay.
Because I almost got tricked into believing I was still watching the Fix. Like, I believe. Also, I do know this for a fact: the freaking party on the landing with the pool still fill the Shill's house. They only have one house in all of Miami, and I'm tired of seeing it.
Also, the middleman for Fuentes, for Frank Zappa's character, was Carla's husband from Cheers, Nick Dorndelli. Again, he was Ben Schrader in One-Eyed Jack in season 1. Now he's back playing an entirely different guy.
Okay, well then that explains why I recognized him. So I guess it's not the same guy.
Frank Zappa's only in this thing for like a second, isn't he?
Well,
he's down the boat.
I think we're realizing the flaw in our plan, which is if you're going to write a script for Miami Vice and you're just going to have a character called whoever, I don't know, a guest star, then you probably write that character with very little to screw up. And then the guest star
shows
up.
We're going to be booking a lot of musicians: Glenn Fry, Frank Zappa, Phil Collins.
Did you guys notice that it didn't seem like there was licensed music or any of the normal music video bits?
No, there was a song from X. Great track. I was like, oh, that's a good get. The band X, kind of a punkish new wave band from the time. I was impressed by that, but the rest of it, that was it. That was the only licensed bit. Everything else was just Jan Hammer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about it. Is Crockett crooked or no?
No.
Oh.
He literally didn't even know.
He just loves to act. I'm so sweaty and scared in here.
I mean,
I had to look, by the way. Miami Vice came on after Dallas. So
immediately
3
after?
minutes. Yeah. So Dallas was on I'm sorry. No. It came on after the A-Team. It came on opposite Dallas. I was looking at the grid backwards. So the A-Team was on at 8, Miami Vice on at 9, and you had to pull people over from watching Dallas.
Yeah, with Frank Zappa and walking through a prison.
I will say I did dig whatever that pen shooting bullet gizmo, like
the 3D printed gun.
Well, I mean, it's actually for that time they gave some amount of credit to the audience where it was clearly a gun of some variety, but they didn't belabor the point of it, right? Mm-hmm. Although the weird kissing him on the cheek and be like, "I love you, Crockett." Anyway, boo. That was a bit weird.
Yeah, it was quite an elaborate ploy to get payback at Crockett.
Yeah,
It's
especially because he didn't seem like it worked at all.
Well, no, it worked because it brought him under suspicion, right? It made Crockett's life miserable because it made it look like Crockett had killed him.
Slightly
And that's what started
inconvenienced
the investigation and made people doubt him. And so it was payback. I thought that bit was one of the bits that worked in this episode. Is like, oh, okay. If you believe that guy wanted to kill himself anyway, I guess I could believe that he would get back at Crockett this way. Like, I'm going to commit suicide, but I'm going to do it in a way that hurts you. And it did. It did hurt him. Didn't hurt him permanently, though, because they needed Crockett back for the next episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else getting the impression that just straight up they're turning in 30-minute scripts and saying, you can make it an hour. We trust you.
I don't know. I'm certainly picking up what you're talking about where they put in the padding, but I'm not sure how much of that is just our modern sensibility where we don't have to worry about people walking away from the TV during a live broadcast, right? Because you remember these very few people recorded these on VHS and watched them later. Most people just watched them as they were aired. So you had to give a lot more padding back then.
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, am I wrong though? Like,
I don't think
you can't assume that people are paying attention all the time.
No,
so.
and that is one of the fascinations I have with us watching it. Like, I can't even stick to the bit for more than 20 seconds. Yeah, I think that's just like their job is to be like, no, hold it, 3, 2, 1, and react. 3, 2, 1.
You got to have a
go.
pace that people won't get lost from. Because Johnny's going to ask about his homework, and you're going to be like, wait, what happened?
What did he just say?
Yeah.
And I can't do it.
I remember homework.
Oh, see. Castillo remembers homework.
They make a big point at the end of this episode to let us know that $3 million is just missing. Is that the next is that the next arc on this show? Is finding the $3 million, or is that just next week's episode?
I don't know. They really don't do major story arcs, but it does feel like something they were leaving to pop up in another episode, possibly, whether it was next week or down the line. Yeah.
I'll say, looking at the Vice Wikia, it does not seem like the following episode is about that $3 million. So,
yeah. And we're not watching it.
Yeah, we're not. No.
Well, wait a minute. Is it the next episode? We're going to watch Sons and Lovers with John Leguizamo guest starring.
Oh no, I'm looking at Freeverse, which follows the one that we just watched. Anyway.
Well, any other thoughts on Crockett?
Yeah.
Sometimes Tubbs. I'm Crockett.
I'm now neutral on this experiment. I feel like we've started to figure out their game plan, and they have a chance to surprise us, but I'm getting less confident that they will.
So here's the major question then. For the next Miami Vice, would you want to watch the one with John Leguizamo or just skip right to the one with Liam Neeson?
Oh, Liam Neeson for sure.
All right, I'm doing it. So, sorry, Sons and Lovers. When Irish Eyes Are Crying is the name of the episode that we will watch next, because Liam Neeson is Irish.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's it for Miami Vice, the episode Payback with Frank Zappa. And that does it for us for Cordkillers today. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for supporting us on Patreon. You get these episodes broken up into bite-sized chunks. You get them earlier. So if you're not a patron, become one right now, patreon.com/Cordkillers. We're off next week. So in 2 weeks, we will be watching 2 episodes of Picard as it returns and 2 episodes of Raised by Wolves. We will not be watching a Miami Vice next episode, but when we do return to watching Miami Vice, it will be in 3 weeks when Irish Eyes Are Crying with guest star Liam Neeson. We'll spoil you then.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.